All right, folks, welcome to the Buckeye Blitz on Fans Team Sports, powered by DSP Media. I'm Jeff Thitoff. Tito, find me on the X at FitHappens, where you can find me there. Lots to get into today. I want to start with this, though. If you're a Buckeye fan, obviously you are, you're listening to this right now. Mekka Don is a former Ohio State walk-on who is now like a recording artist, lawyer, all these different things, producer, content, all this stuff he does. And in 2014, Mekka Don did a video and a hype song for Ohio State's football season. They won the national championship that year. Now, he's done another one this year. For the first time since 2014, Mekka Don has done a 2024 video hype song. It's called Buckle Up. Search for Mekka Don Music, Mekka, Mekka Don, Don, Music, all one word. Search for it on the X. You can see it there. You find a link to the YouTube video. It's on Spotify also, but it's a look, I'm telling you, it will get you hyped up for the season. It is a lot of old clips, a lot of current players, and things like that. Mekka Don knows what the hell he's doing. Like I said, the 2014 season he did it, Buckeyes won the national title. Now he did it again for 2024. Just came out this week on Monday. So there it is. Go check it out. I promise you, you'll love it. Share it with your friends. Again, it's wonderful. So you can go to fantasyreports.com for all of our content. Also, go to the Fantasy Reports app. Free Apple and Android users can check it out there. Also, the Fantasy Sports Facebook group. Interact with hosts and other fans as well. Okay, Big Ten Media Day started today. It's Tuesday when I'm recording this. And we'll get a lot later on. We'll get to more later on this week about what Ryan Day said, but a couple things that came out of that before we get into the other things. But Commissioner Tony Petitti for the Big Ten said that they are right now comfortable with 18 teams. They like where they're at with the format, with the makeup of the Big Ten, with the 18 teams now, with the addition of Oregon, USC, UCLA, and Washington into the Big Ten, because there's rumors that Florida State and Clemson. Oh, we know Florida State wants to get out of the ACC. Clemson might as well. ACC could fall apart. We'll see what happens there, but it looks like the Big Ten and the SEC are both saying we're good where we're at, which would then point Florida State and Clemson, and who knows who else, over to the Big 12 potentially. It feels like the Big Ten's not going to do anything until Notre Dame decides to join a conference, if they do. Now, if the ACC falls apart, who knows? If Carolina and Duke are available, maybe the Big Ten will go after them. We'll see about that. But Petitti said they are comfortable right now. They like where they're at with 18 teams. They're not out. Much like the SEC said, we're not recruiting any other teams. I think the Big Ten's kind of the same way. Like I said, unless Notre Dame makes a decision to join a conference. To the media days here, by the way, one thing Tony Petitti said, get into that. He also said that the Big Ten championship game for football will remain in Indy through the 2028 season. So a few more seasons of that. It's always been in Indy. There's been talk about when we got these West Coast teams in that maybe they play the game in Vegas one year. I still think that'll happen. I think we will see a Big Ten championship game in Vegas at some point, just not for the next few years. The college football playoff, by the way, we know goes to 12 teams this year, and starting in after 2 years, the 2024-25 season, 2025-26 season, they might look at expanding it or changing the format on the number of teams that are going to be in it. But for at least the next 2 years, it's going to remain at 12. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how it goes this year. It's a year of change in college football. Ryan Day, he basically, a lot of things he said with it. We know the pressure on us this year. We know the expectations. We know exactly what the Buckeye fans are expecting from Ohio State this year. You know, beat Michigan, win the Big Ten, win the national championship. Those are the expectations for Ohio State fans this year. Might be a little lofty. If they do the first two and then lose the championship game against, say, a Georgia, I still think it's a great season. Nonetheless, Ryan Day said he knows the expectations, and they are embracing it. Ohio State's got a lot of players coming back. Jack Story was out there at Media Day, and he said that Ryan Day has had them has told them to play College Football 25, the new game on EA Sports, to get to familiarize himself with some of the opponents this year, because they've got some new opponents, obviously, with this change. And they got some different opponents, actually, with this change in the Big Ten and the addition of the teams. Ohio State is playing at Oregon on October 12th. That's the biggie on that one. So anyway, we'll talk more about what Ryan Day talked about at Media Day later on in the week. There's so much to cover. Like I said, it's a 3-day thing this year. It is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in Indianapolis, because 6 teams, 6 coaches speaking each day. Ohio State's Ryan Day was the last speaker today on Tuesday. Like I said, I'm recording this Tuesday evening. He was the last speaker today. Michigan head coach Jerron Moore is the last speaker on Thursday. All right. The Cardale Jones charity softball game was it benefits the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer. That was at Huntington Park, home of the Columbus Clippers, this past Saturday. I was out there doing the play-by-play for 97.1 The Fan, and it was really cool to be out there because it was some current players against former players, and the former players, Cardale Jones led up that group. Boob Heron was out there. Devere Posey, guys like that were out there playing for the former players. The Boren boys, all those guys were out there playing for the former players. And then on the current players, you had guys like Mekka, Ibuka. You had Lincoln Keenholz out there. You had Jack Sawyer out there. Who else out there? Will Howard, the projected starting quarterback this year for them. So lots of current players out there that are going to be really good this year. And first they did the home run derby, and Lincoln Keenholz absolutely crushed it. This dude, you remember, he's the Gatorade National Athlete of the Year in high school, senior year, which is not football. It's all sports. He was great in football, basketball, and baseball in high school. So he looked like a natural out there. He won the home run derby, beat Mekka Ibuka, last year's winner in the championship, and then went on to beat the pro who was there. A professional softball player was also there, and Keenholz beat him as well to win that. Also in the game, Keenholz played great at third base. Looked, like I say, so smooth out there. Scooped a lot of grounders. Made a couple of plays on nice line drives hit towards him. But Keenholz, home run derby winner. And we also, in the booth there, we called him we thought he was the MVP of the game. He crushed a couple of homers in the game as well. Current players rallied for a 16-15 win in that game. Mekka Ibuka, who has, again, last year's home run derby champ, he led off the game with a home run on the first pitch of the game. Will Howard went yard also, as did OSU linebackers coach James Laurinaitis. So we had a chance to talk some Buckeyes during the game as well. We talked to Keenholz first after he won the home run derby, and I'm telling you, this dude is he's mature, and look, there's 5 quarterbacks on this team, right? There's 5 quarterbacks right now. It's Will Howard, Devin Brown, presumed top 2. After that, you've got Keenholz, a sophomore, freshman Aaron Nolan, and freshman Julian Sagan. So there's a lot of competition in that room. The fact they all stuck around through spring practice, did not transfer, says a lot about the makeup of this team. And Lincoln talked about that a little bit. And the brotherhood with this team, the common goal with this team to win, to get a pair of gold pants by beating Michigan, win the Big Ten, and then win the national championship. Also talked to Will Howard. Will Howard, presumed starting quarterback this year. I think he's 24 years old, came off a 4-year career at Kansas State. And he was very mature. And you talked about some of the changes, some of the struggles, how he wanted to challenge himself to come to Ohio State because it got him out of his comfort zone. He felt very comfortable at Kansas State. It's what he knew. It's all he knew. And come to Ohio State, he had to adapt himself to the teammates, obviously, and also to the culture and to like the day-to-day things. Like he was saying, like, where do I get lunch? Where do these different things I have to do. I need to learn how to do these things. They were all new to him. He wanted to go in the draft, but he was looking like a day 3 projection. That was kind of the rating that the NFL scouts gave Will Howard. He's 6'4", 235, I think. But they gave him a day 3 projection based on what he has done at Kansas State. He admitted at Kansas State there were times he felt like he almost had to carry the team sometimes. It didn't mean in a negative way. But a couple things he said about Ohio State. And again, this was not derogatory towards Kansas State. He looks around him, though, and sees the best talent he's ever played with. He also said he's been coached harder at Ohio State than he's ever been in his life, with Chip Kelly and Ryan Day out there. And he has said that he's never been coached harder in his life. He's excited about it, excited about this year. And although no starter's been named, we fully expect Will Howard to be the one to get the job when it's all said and done. Like I said, he was going to go to the NFL draft, and then the opportunity to Ohio State came up, and he said, I'm going to come back for the year and play for them. And he's the kind of quarterback Ohio State needs. He's mobile. He's not a run-first quarterback, but he's a mobile quarterback, which is important for Ohio State this year. Chip Kelly does well with mobile quarterbacks. Talked also to James Laurinaitis, the new linebackers coach for Ohio State, was a GA before this, also a GA out at Notre Dame with his good buddy Marcus Freeman before coming back to Ohio State. Now he's on the road recruiting and whatnot. And Laurinaitis, by the way, it looks like he could still play today. If you put the pads on, he could play for Ohio State just fine. He also spoke about the brotherhood of this team, how close-knit they are, the common goal, the tunnel vision on this thing, that they know what they have to do. working hard in practice every day. August 1st is when they report back. They got about a week off here now, less than a week now, but August 1st is when they come back in. I guess a little more than a week. August 1st, they come back in, though, and get gearing and ready for the August 31st game against Akron. So it gets really serious then at that point. But Laurinaitis talked about how he's enjoying recruiting. It's a ton of travel, but he's loving it. And I'm telling you right now, Laurinaitis will be a head coach somewhere at a major program. Maybe it's Ohio State. Maybe it's somewhere else. Laurinaitis, though, just, just like Brian Hartline, Laurinaitis has got that it factor. He's a leader, and the players seem to love him. Laurinaitis was great to talk to. Love that. So, again, Ohio State just looking like a team on a sole mission collectively as a team, which is amazing in this day and age with NIL, guys leaving early, transport. Look, Ohio State only added 9 transfers this year. They didn't add like the Colorado did. They had among the fewest in the country. Clemson had 0. Dabo, that's a whole other story. But Ohio State only added 9 transfers, but they were strategic transfers that are going to impact this year dramatically. And it starts with Will Howard. Also, Caleb Downs, another phenomenal player. 4 of the quarterbacks, by the way, were out there at the softball game. Keen Holes was out there. Will Howard was out there. Aaron Nolan actually made an appearance out there as well. Devin Brown played as well. The only person who wasn't there was Julian Sand, but the other ones were out there. Great cause for that Cardale Jones does. It was the 5th annual Cardale Jones charity softball game, raising money for the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer. All right, let's go on to the recruiting trail here. The Ohio State Buckeyes, they lost out on a 5-star receiver, Vernell Brown III. And Brown plays down in Florida. He is the number 6 wide receiver in the class of 2025, and he chose Florida over Ohio State, Miami, and Florida State. His father played cornerback for Steve Spurrier and Ron Zook down there at Florida, so not totally surprising that he did that, but he was somebody who at one point it looked like Ohio State might be able to get, he's a 5'11 kid, 170 pounds, and number 25 overall prospect in the country, number 6 among wide receivers. So they lost out on him. Another guy that is trying to, it's in the 2026 class, by the way, Chris Henry Jr., who's 6'6", 200 pounds. Again, he's class of 26. He's a 5-star. Dude's got Randy Moss type skills. And he committed to Ohio State back in July of 2023. So July 28th, actually almost a year ago, he committed to Ohio State. Since then, he's moved out to California to finish up his high school career. And he's been working out with some NFL quarterbacks. T.J. Husmann-Jada has been like representing him, the former Bengals wide receiver. And he's also been working out with Oregon receivers. Well, Dan Lanning's after him big time. He's going to visit Oregon on July 27th. Also going to visit LSU at some point. But look, last year as a sophomore, 71 catches, 1,127 yards, 10 touchdowns. And like I say, now he's out in California where he's going to finish up his high school career. But Ohio State hopes to keep him. I hope they can as well. Concerns me a little bit. He's going to visit with Oregon, visit with LSU, but I get it. Take all the visits you can because you can't take them later on in life. Another person Ohio State's looking at is 2026 Louisiana defensive end, Jakeem Stewart. And he is 6'6", 270, the number 2 overall prospect in 2026. Chris Henry's number 1, by the way. And Stewart is coming back to Columbus to visit Ohio State during the game against Michigan this year in November, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So this will be a second trip to Ohio State. He was in here in June for one of the camps. He also wants to go to Texas, Georgia, and LSU. And then he's talking about Miami, talking about Auburn. We'll see what happens there. But that's a target for Ohio State. They really want to go out and get. Braxton Miller's son, he is not even in the 6th grade yet. He's already got an offer. It looks like that Landon Miller is the kid's name, Braxton's son, recruiting class of 2031. Jeez. And he has been offered by Tom Herman, the former Ohio State offensive coordinator, and then went to Texas and coached Braxton Miller there. So he is one of the, he has offered him a offered him a scholarship. This is so stupid when they do this thing because the 6th grader, it's not like he can do anything. It's not binding on that. It's just something that Tom Herman offers him, but it's not like he has to hold him to it on that one. Another thing too, I saw this coming across a little bit ago. Ohio State is one of the finalists for a 2026 combo guard on the basketball side of things. Davison Hanna is a big-time player that we're seeing Ohio State's going after him, somebody that obviously Jake Diebler wants for the 2025 combo guard, 2026. He's from the state of Wisconsin. and they're a finalist for him. I'm trying to see who the other schools are that are after him right now. He did announce Ohio State. That was one of the ones that he is looking at. Davian Hanna is he is a 6'5", 175 pound guard, and he is got Ohio State among his final teams he is considering. So we'll keep an eye on that. Ohio State's non-conference basketball schedule came out. It's not completed yet because there's a long gap between November 29th and December 17th for the men. But they've got Texas A&M on the schedule. And Texas, as we already knew about, Texas A&M is going to be at College Station as a return to the home and home. Texas is in Las Vegas, part of that beginning of the season classic they're doing. Ohio State also plays Kentucky in the CBS Sports Classic. They're going to play Wisconsin Green Bay. Doug Gottlieb, the head coach there now. They're going to play Indiana State also, and they are going to play Pitt as well as part of their non-conference schedule. It's not a real daunting non-conference schedule. They said they could still add a neutral site game, and they have a couple of Big Ten games they're going to have to play in December as well. But that schedule is out. So, but that's it for right now. Look, and we'll play more from I'll hear more about Ryan Day, things that he said at Big Ten Media Day on Tuesday. So the players said as well. So we'll find that out as the media days go on in Indianapolis. Again, they're Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. 6 teams each day, 6 sets of players each day. But make sure you come back here and check us out. It's time. Look, August 31st, season starts up. Go check out the Mekka Dawn hype video. It is phenomenal. Check that out. Check back in with us again as we'll talk more here on the Buckeye Daily Blitz. I'm Jeff Thitoff. Tito, follow me on the X @ThitHappens.